Hi everyone, and welcome back to the afternoon session of Man and Machines Virtual Summit 2023. I'm Toby Dawkins and I'm the Regional Business Development Manager for the AEC team, covering the East of England and East London. I've been with the business for just over 3 years now, working alongside various businesses in the AEC space, as well as universities, NHS trusts and a number of other public sector bodies, supporting not just their software and training requirements, but also driving digital transformations within the organisations. Now, today, along with my colleague Byron, we're going to be taking a closer look at some of the latest features of AutoCAD 2024. I'm going to hand over to Byron shortly, but just before we get started with the session, a quick reminder that our question and answer box is live. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to drop them into the box during the session, and myself and the team will pick them up. If you prefer to call us, then you can, of course, give us a call on 01844 263 700. And if you've got an existing Man and Machine account manager, you can contact them directly using their contact details. I'd also be happy to receive any emails from you. My email address is toby.dawkins@manandmachine.co.uk. Now, although AutoCAD's been around for over 40 years, which is a little bit older than me, although not by much, as my girlfriend very unfortunately reminds me all the time, it's an application which has gone from being a basic 2D drafting application to a 3D capable platform with some specialised tool sets for architectural, mechanical and electrical and various other disciplines. Now, as part of the ongoing development, there's been a number of releases made for the 2024 edition. Autodesk have included a number of enhancements like Markup Assist and smart blocks and some added functionality around insights, which make it easier to track things on drawings and projects. And they can also work really well in conjunction if you're using any of the cloud platforms of the Autodesk Construction Cloud. Now, I know Byron's going to cover those functions and features in a bit more detail shortly, but it's just worth reminding you that if you have an active subscription to either AutoCAD or the AEC collection, that the 2024 version is now available to download from your products and services section of your Autodesk account. So if you haven't already done so, now's a great time to upgrade. I know that Byron is ready and waiting to go, so I won't keep him any longer. But as I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to file them into the chat box, and I'll hand over to Byron now. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks for that introduction, Toby. Yeah, like you've mentioned, Autodesk has been out for what feels like forever now. I can remember my father loading up AutoCAD through MS-DOS, which is a command line based operating system. And on top of that, he also had a massive stack of floppy disks. And every time he needed to load in a font, he would need to find one of those fonts in that stack of floppies, insert it into the machine and load it into AutoCAD that way. So it's really good to see that Autodesk they're constantly updating this application even to this day. Even inputting machine learning into the 2024 version as well. You'll also be happy to know that it still uses the same 2018 DWG format. So if you're working with partners that are using an older version, you can still collaborate, no matter if you're using the 2018 version all the way up to the 2024 version. Those are all backwards and forwards compatible. Along with standard system improvements. So if you're running the latest hardware on Windows, Autodesk or AutoCAD 2024 is going to take advantage of those latest hardware components. And on top of that, they've also made Apple Silicon M1 and M2 chips supported as well. So now AutoCAD 2024 runs natively on those chips as well. And there's no need for the Rosetta translator to translate those instructions from the ARM architecture to the Intel architecture. So without further ado, I think we'll jump straight into AutoCAD. So you should see loading it up on your screen now. And then we can get into those 3 new features that Toby mentioned previously. And just to reiterate, it's the Activity Insights, the Markup Assist, and then there's Smart Block Placement and Replacement. So the first feature I'd like to show you guys is this Activity Insights. So let me just quickly grab my floor plan over here. So I'm sure as the for the AEC industry, this is fairly relevant. It's just a standard floor plan of an office that one or two of you might come to design something very similar. And this is a brand new feature for AutoCAD 2024. You can find it in the View tab. If you come to the History panel, you've got this Activity Insights option here now. And what this does is it logs all the events within this drawing. From conception to when you release the drawing, it's going to log all the events that happen within this drawing in this little Activity Insights palette. So if I had to come in here, for instance, say we needed to clear out this room for whatever reason, I can grab the geometry that I need to delete, maybe not the wall as well though. Delete that out, delete this phone out as well, give this drawing a save, and then you should see after a bit of time that this Activity Insights palette has been updated. So now you can see that Byron has edited this drawing, and it gives you the time and date that it was edited as well. It also tracks certain features that are done outside of AutoCAD. So if I had to go and move this drawing from one location to another location in my, say, shared network folder, or if you're using OneDrive or something similar like that, it will also track that as well. So if I come and select this option here to filter out by file moved, you can see that it tracks loads of times where this file has been moved. And again, it gives you the original location of the drawing as well as the new location it's moved to. It doesn't quite yet show you who's done that change because it's done outside of AutoCAD, and the way this works is it grabs the user that's signed into AutoCAD to notify you who's made that change for all the other events. It also automatically logs other certain commands. So if you're going to do a purge, if you plot to PDF or just standard plotting, and if you export this DWG file to a different format, it will automatically log those events as well. So if I come in here quickly, maybe we need to send this drawing off as a DWF to our customer. It's a nice, very standard, small and compact viewing file. So I can save that, send it out to my customer, and then you should see it pretty much immediately logs that Byron has published this drawing, and I've published it as a DWF. If I wanted to track some of my colleagues, what they've done in the drawing, it's got some nice filtering tools for you to do that as well. So if I click on the date, it gives me a list of ranges I can choose from. I can also select a custom range, so you can see all the dates that are highlighted in blue. That means that on that day this drawing has been worked on, and I can come and select a specific range of days or a single day. But let's say I want to look at this drawing from the 25th to the 5th. I can select that date range, come in here. This will give me a list of users that have worked on this drawing. So currently it's just myself and my colleague Daniel. So I want to see what events or what work Daniel has done in this drawing. I can click on his name, and then it will give me all of the events that he's done within this drawing for that specific time frame. I can also filter it out even further than that. So if I want to come here, see when he's exported the file. Okay, he's not done that yet, but maybe if we can see when he's published to PDF, quickly click on his name, and then we can see he's done that a few times, and he's done that on the 26th of April, it looks like. So it's just a really good and useful tool to keep track of what goes on during this drawing's life. And yeah, just for auditing purposes, to see who's done what for accountability, it's just really a good tool to track what's going on especially if you're not using something like Vault or Docs that has that revision control or file history that comes with those products. It's now built in within Autodesk AutoCAD for you to use. So that's that first feature that Autodesk have implemented for 2024. The next feature, which is Markup Assist, is probably my favorite tool. And this is just going to allow you to much easier collaborate with your partners, with your colleagues, with regards to making changes to your drawings and seeing which changes need to be made. So for a general working environment, you'll probably have a CAD engineer that sits in the office, comes out, creates your floor plan layout, and then they would generally go and plot this, say, on an A3 piece of paper, send that off to a site engineer who goes on site, and then he can check to see what changes need to be made, if any, on this drawing. And he'll normally just grab his red pen and do it all physically and check, physically mark up on the paper what needs to be changed, and then send that back to the site, the CAD engineer. Autodesk have nicely digitized this workflow, so now we can all do it through PDF, and there's no need for that physical aspect anymore. So we can go through that workflow now. So I can come in here, print my floor plan out to PDF. We can select nice A3 size, send that off to the site engineer. I'll just save it in here for now. And the site engineer can open it up in any PDF editor that he has, whether it be Acrobat or, in this case, I'm just using Microsoft Edge, which has some just really standard markup tools. And then the site engineer can come in and make his markups on the PDF. So say, for instance, he can come in here, he sees this room over here, it looks like a storage room. That needs to be repurposed for something else. So he can come in, just make his amendments, say that needs to be cleared out. We can come down here, it looks like we've got an empty room here that we can just duplicate on the other side. So we can highlight that, just make a quick arrow and say that needs to be copied over to this room. It looks like we have a completely empty office space here, so we can just encircle that and tell the CAD engineer to populate that office. And then if we scroll to the left here, it looks like we've got a duplication of names, which is probably not required. So we can come in here, cross that out. Let me just make this slightly smaller. And then we can write in the name that it's supposed to be. You'll have to bear with me, I'm trying to write as a left-handed person with a right-handed mouse. But hopefully AutoCAD can read that there. So the site engineer's made all his amendments, markups, and he's ready to send that off to the CAD engineer. So we can do that quickly. We'll just amend this to say that this has been marked up. We send that to the CAD engineer, then the CAD engineer can come in and open that drawing and overlay it over the original drawing he's working on. So I can come in here in the Collaborate tab, click on this Markup Import, select the PDF that the site engineer has sent to me, and then you will just need to give AutoCAD a minute to think, and then you can see it's automatically overlaid the PDF markup over my parent drawing. So I've not needed to move and rotate and scale this to align the drawings correctly. Autodesk has managed to do that for me, but if that wasn't the case, we do have these tools underneath to get it in the correct location. But because it's in the correct location, I'm just going to go ahead and accept that. And now you'll see we're in the trace front mode, and that just allows me to come in and make more markups with AutoCAD's drawing tools if necessary. But the really cool feature that it's been out since 2023, but they've made some improvements to it, is this trace back feature. And what that allows you to do is have your overlay over your parent drawing and then make amendments to the parent drawing whilst the overlay is still active. So I can come in here, zoom in, I can see it's highlighted this room and it wants me to clear it out. If I hover over this clear command, you can see it's got a lightning bolt, and it actually tells me I can start a command. So it's automatically picking up. It knows that I want to erase whatever's in this room. So instead of having to go in, select my erase command, I can just come in here, click clear, click the items I want to erase, and press enter. And you can see that's automatically done all of that for me. The same applies with copy. So I can just come in here, click copy, click the items I need to copy over, drag them across to where they need to be placed, and that's all done for me again. It looks like it's picked up some text over here as well, just scribbled in. And if I click on the border of this text, you'll see it's picked up the name Cam. Unfortunately, for some reason, it auto-capitalizes everything at the moment. But it is easy enough to just go ahead and edit that out to what you need it to be, if it's not picked up the letter correctly, or if you need to change the case. Then you can insert this as a leader, insert it as text, or in this case what I want to do is update existing text. All I need to do is click the update existing text command, scroll in and click the text that I want to replace, click replace, and then you'll see if I fade out these lines that have been drawn over the previous words, you'll see in there that it's changed from Esther Peters to Cameron Mackenzie now. So it's just really useful tools that speed up the collaborative effort between colleagues and contractors and whatnot. So it looks like we have one more thing to do here, which is just to populate this office space. And for that, I'm just going to turn off this trace feature just so that we have a nice clean view. And generally, if I wanted to repopulate this, I would just grab my blocks and then copy them over or mirror them over. But Autodesk have released a really cool new tool that allows you to place blocks smartly. And instead of just copying these over, I'm going to use that tool for populating this office. So I'm just going to load up my library blocks and then start placing in my blocks. So I'll grab my desk that I need to place in, and you can see how tiny this desk is. It's just a standard generic block. It's in the incorrect location, it's not scaled and rotated correctly. But you can already see if I hover it over the walls, it's automatically picking up where it expects me to place this desk, and it's used machine learning to look around the rest of my drawing and estimate where it would expect me to place this block in. So I can just hover it over these walls and you can see it wants me to place it there. So with a few clicks I've got my desk in. The same thing with my chair. It looks like we need a cabinet as well. So I just hover over next to the wall and click. We'll grab our computer, and what do we need? A telephone there. So within a few clicks I've managed to populate that room without much effort at all. One thing you will know is it doesn't yet copy over the layer properties, but it's easy enough to just use the layer painter and then copy those over So let me grab my source object, my destination objects. That's done. I'll do the same for the phone, for the computer and the chair. And you can see there, within a few clicks, we've automatically populated that office space. There's one more really cool feature with block placement, and that's this replace feature. So say I wanted to come in and change these blocks over here. Generally I would need to delete them out and then place in the blocks I want, or click on them and then find it within my library and replace them that way. Now all I need to do is click on the block I want to replace, come up here and click my block replace command. It's also in your properties palette, so you can see the same replace command down here, or you can just type in the command in the command line as well. So if I click that replace command now, instead of prompting me to select a block, it gives me a list of suggestions that it thinks I would want to replace this block with, and that's based on the block properties, the block name, and a few other attributes that these blocks share. So now it looks, I'd like to replace this block with a different set of chair and table and chairs, and that's just quickly allowed me to do that with a few clicks. It doesn't quite yet work with different sets of blocks. The blocks need to be all the same in order to use this functionality, but you can also select multiple and do the same thing. So those are the three main features that Autodesk have released for 2024, and they should just really allow you to speed up your your workflows, to work much easier with your colleagues and collaborators, and I guess make it just a bit more fun to use the software. So I'll pass back over to Toby. I hope that was useful for you, and yeah, if you have any questions for us, yeah, please get back to us. Thank you.
Thanks, Byron. That was a really informative session, which I know will have been very useful for anyone using AutoCAD. It's great to see that there's so much development gone into the product, and there's the improvements in efficiency, which will undoubtedly come about as a result of that. I particularly like the smart block feature. I do know that for some projects, especially like the one Byron showed you there, where there's a lot of similar design iterations and repetitive work, I think that'll be a really, really useful feature. And also, when you combine the updates that Byron's shown you there with other enhancements to the application, like the AutoCAD web feature, where you can access AutoCAD from a mobile device or through a browser, it does just mean that you're seeing that continued development within the product, and it's no surprise that it continues to be one of the leading applications used worldwide across industry. Now, I know that we've only covered some of the features of AutoCAD there, but if you do have any questions about additional features or functions of AutoCAD, or if there's any questions about other Autodesk software, please feel free to get in touch. I know we've had a couple of questions during the session, and as I said earlier, my inbox and our phone numbers remain very much open if you've got any other questions. We're going to take a quick break now before we launch into the next session, which is going to take a look at twin motion. So please do stick around for that if you are currently creating any renders, or if you're interested in doing so, or indeed if you're a Revit user. But for the time being, I'm going to hand back over to Nathan. Thanks very much again to Byron, and thank you for joining us.